Derek. What's up, Grandma Cindy? Everything's up. You're just sitting here, wearing out your pants. And the kids are out in the neighboring garden picking apples again. Cindy, why are you getting so worked up? The house is abandoned, and those apples will fall and rot anyway. This way, at least the kids will eat them. Why would they go to waste? They won't go to waste at all. People buy them for next to nothing at the market. Cindy realized she had said too much, but Derek had already latched on. He, of course, knew before that Grandma was trading apples from the neighboring garden. But Cindy, to be honest, had already gotten on his nerves. Now, Cindy, let's draw up a protocol. What kind of protocol? What kind? You take other people's apples? You do. And not just for food, but for enrichment. What are you talking about, Derek? Who told you that? And these apples are nobody's. I'll tell Grandpa to clear the path, otherwise the boys will burn their legs on nettles. You came up with that yourself. Let him clear it, maybe someone else will want apples. Well, can I go then? Go ahead, of course. I'll come by the path in the evening, take a look. Grandma almost ran from home, which was assigned to the local constable, cursing her long tongue along the way. Derek smiled after her. He was originally from here, and even though he hadn't lived here for a long time, people knew him well. Cindy was always like that. If there was a chance to grab something, she would definitely grab it. Even if what she could grab was absolutely unnecessary for her. Everything that lay around and used, she brought home. When the shed was bursting at the seams, her Grandpa John couldn't take it and, to the laughter of the villagers, set a big bonfire in the garden. He dragged everything there that Cindy lovingly brought home, dreaming that this item would definitely find a use. But she conveniently forgot about it because the next day she brought something else. Once a year, John would organize a fiery show. Everything found its way into the flames. Discarded fishing nets, old paintings taken out of the school last year because new ones arrived, wooden planks, and tires. One day, amid the loud laughter of those who gathered to watch and listen, the old man rolled out a gynecological chair from the shed. He stood there for a while, looking at it, then said, "Cindy, I don't understand one thing. What did you want to do with it? Or did you think of starting some new business?" The old lady even stomped her foot. "You don't need anything of the sort. It's just because you're useless. Another man would have found a use for everything long ago, but you don't want anything." John chuckled. "I would find a use too, if I were a bit younger." He winked at Grandma Cindy, and the crowd burst into laughter. When the old lady realized what he meant, she quickly disappeared behind the door of the house. From there, she shouted, "Old clown! Just entertaining the people." John was indeed a very humorous old man. Everyone loved him. Despite Cindy spreading gossip about him for no reason, everything in his house and farm was in order. Cindy, despite her seemingly greedy and malicious nature, was a complex person. In the village, everyone was used to her being grumpy and even scandalous. They tried not to provoke her because she knew everything about everyone and never held back with her words. And when Rebecca, the woman whose son stole apples, fell ill a year ago and fell seriously ill, it was Cindy who saved her. The incident is still discussed in the village. Rebecca's husband left her, and she raised the boys on her own. No help from him whatsoever, so Rebecca worked day and night. Lately, she realized something was strange. Her head hurt oddly, and at times, it felt like she was losing consciousness. She went for a checkup, and they told her, "Tumor. Indeed, benign, but growing." Another month, and that's it. The operation is complicated, and her case is advanced. She might not even live to see her turn for surgery in the public system. The only option is a paid operation. When Rebecca heard the cost, she immediately went home to gather her things. As it is known, rumors spread quickly in the village. People were agitated. How could this happen? A young woman and her children would be left orphans. While the whole village was in turmoil, Cindy silently went to Rebecca like a gray shadow. And who knows how much money the old lady brought her, as a loan or a gift, but by morning, Rebecca had already left for the hospital. When people asked Grandma Cindy how much money she had taken, the old lady widened her eyes dramatically. Money? Have you lost your mind? I wish someone would give me some. And at home, she told John, well, we're not dead yet, we'll gather more. Besides, the boys will end up in the orphanage, and I feel sorry for Rebecca. She said all this dissatisfiedly, so that John wouldn't think she genuinely felt sorry for someone. But John had lived with her for almost 50 years. It would have been longer if the young Cindy hadn't tormented him for 3 years. He stood up, approached his wife. Oh, Cindy, of course, we'll gather. Now I know for sure that there's no one better than you in the world. Cindy looked at him then with clear, not at all old eyes and asked, do you think they will help? Of course, they will. Grandma Cindy instantly changed her attitude. Well, what are you standing here, smiling? I've been asking for hot water in the bath for 2 weeks. John smiled, shook his head, and went to the yard. What a woman she was. Well, just a moment ago, she was human. Derek finally folded the papers. What he disliked most about his job was the paperwork. He was supposed to be a local constable, keeping order, but every month he had to write so many reports that he sometimes thought about changing his profession. Derek lived with his mother and father. He was born here, grew up, fell in love. His first love, the beauty Mia, immediately reciprocated. They had planned their wedding after his military service. How Derek loved her. At that time, he thought that if Mia were suddenly gone, he would die too. Mia had a friend, Betty the Snake. She became the reason 2 destinies fell apart. Although, what does Betty have to do with it? He was to blame for everything. Mia's friend always liked him. But when she realized that they were serious and the wedding was imminent, she became melancholic. Melancholic and came up with not very good ideas. Somehow, she invited Derek to her house when her parents were away. Like lifting a heavy chest. Then she offered tea. While they chatted, they unconsciously switched to moonshine. In short, Derek woke up to screams. Betty's parents had returned and found them in bed. A terrible scandal ensued. Betty's father demanded that he marry her, but Derek loved Mia. How he ended up in bed with Betty, he didn't even remember. Realizing that the whole village was aware of it, he rushed to his bride to explain, to tell her. But Mia's grandmother met him at the door. She's gone. Said it's forever. You cheater, Derek. I thought you were a good guy, but you. Shame on you. Don't come and show your face to me. For a week, Derek went to the city every day. He wandered the streets, thinking about what he would meet Mia. But after a week, he saw an advertisement. They were recruiting contract workers for a hot spot. Without a second thought, he only went home for his things. His mother cried, held him, didn't let him go, but he couldn't be stopped. He returned after 9 years. Betty had long turned into the mother of 2 children and the quarrelsome wife of a local tractor driver. Someone had died, like Mia's grandmother. Someone got married, someone got divorced. In general, life didn't stand still. When his mother saw him, she fainted. It turns out, 3 years ago, an official document had been issued declaring him missing. Fortunately, his mother didn't mention it, or the whole village would have shunned him. As it turned out, a person with the same name and surname did disappear. Only he lived in a different area thousands of kilometers away. Derek was immediately offered to become the local constable. They hadn't had one for about 3 years. They used to come from the district center once a week in turns. And he thought about it and agreed. One evening, a couple of days after his return, he sat on the porch. His mother approached and sat down next to him. "Mom." "What, son? Do you know anything about Mia?" "Well, not much, just rumors. She got married in the city, has kids. But I don't know anything about her husband or how many kids." Derek gritted his teeth, but didn't say anything or ask again. He locked up his police station, as the locals called it, and headed to the end of the village. Of course, he didn't want to punish anyone, especially Grandma Cindy, but that abandoned house wouldn't leave him alone. He stood there at the very end, and from time to time, Derek checked it, just in case someone decided to take it for themselves. They should have either sold it or burned it down to avoid bothering him. Well, and he also wanted to see what Cindy had done with the path. The weather was perfect, so Derek strolled down the street with pleasure. The school year would start soon, and then there would be very little work. Now the boys had nothing to do, so they played pranks, climbing into someone's garden, scaring someone. And then they did this. In their village, there was an old man, incredibly cantankerous. He chased the kids all the time, and you couldn't walk past his house on the street. Everything seemed to him like a plot against him. As soon as he saw the kids walking down the path, he immediately jumped out and started shouting at them. The boys tried several times to explain that they were just passing by. But how can you convince him? Grandpa always wore big galoshes. In Mega Carol, they only recently appeared, bright with a warm insert. Interestingly, he always kept them on his porch. So, when he saw the kids, he jumped out, put on his galoshes, and went after them. But this time, they teased him. They stood in front of his house, talking. Well, the old man, out of habit, jumped out, put on his galoshes, but they were glued. Not only that, each had half a cow dung mixed with water. Of course, the old man fell. Fortunately, he didn't hurt himself, but there was a lot of noise. Derek had to have a talk with the parents. Derek finally reached that very house. Grandpa John was just mowing the abandoned garden. Derek felt his heart squeeze every time he approached this place. This is where Mia used to live with her grandmother. "Good evening, John." The old man turned around. "Oh, Derek. Glad to see you. How's the service going?" "It's going. Where else can it go?" "Did you calm down my old lady?" "Yes, I had to a bit." "Don't worry, it's the right thing to do. Sometimes you have to snap her on the nose. She's not bad, it seems, but this character of hers, nothing's ever enough for her." "Yes, okay, Grandpa John. I know myself that Cindy is good. How is it here? Quiet?" "Yes, quiet. I chased the kids away. I'm afraid they might accidentally set something on fire. Something needs to be done about the house." "It does, John. I've already been to the head of the administration, but she just shrugs her hands. She says if we demolish it, what if heirs show up later? Who will be responsible then? Well, maybe find Mia? It's kind of her house." "Yes, she tried, but it didn't work out. like she disappeared into thin air. Well, you never know what's the right thing to do. Then, maybe your kids will come? The house is good. But maybe just board it up? And then how to see what's inside? Uncover it every time? That's true too. Well, then we'll keep an eye on it. Oh, and it's unfortunate for me to put the barn so close. If it catches fire, consider the whole village gone. John looked along the street, Derek too. He understood what the old man was talking about. The houses all faced the road, and the backyards faced each other. Moreover, they almost touched each other. If one barn caught fire, then in 10 minutes, all of them would ignite. No, exactly, something needs to be decided. It can't be left like this. Okay, ahead is autumn and winter, and in spring? No matter how much Derek fought it, the villagers always burned the grass around the village. You could understand them, they wanted to protect themselves. But how not to notice? Derek circled the house, looked inside. Everything was quiet, just like last time. Okay, John, I'll go. Well, take care, Derek. Mom was already setting the table at home. So, how was your day? Fine. Cindy came running, complaining about Rebecca's boys. That old hag. Probably, she's never satisfied with anything? Exactly. How did you know? Well, everyone knows. She hauls bags of apples to the market. And she manages to profit from everything. Let her, it will all collapse anyway. And there are plenty of apples this year, everyone will have enough. Mother sat opposite Derek, resting her cheek on her hand. Derek, you need to get married. You're over 30 already. What are you waiting for? Mom, don't start. Why not start? Look, all your classmates are married, and some not just once. They all have kids, only we don't. So I'll die without grandchildren. Why are you planning to die? I remember last year when you retired, you said that now you'll finally live. You promised to watch all the TV series and even threatened not to cook for us with Dad. Mother looked at him in disbelief, then burst into laughter. Oh, come on. It's impossible to have a serious conversation with you. And the police. Let's add that. I'm eating, Mom. Carol watched her son. Tall, handsome, with a good position, respected. And there are medals on his uniform hanging in the closet. But no personal happiness. Perhaps he still loves Mia. It's incredible not to see a person for so many years and still love them. On the one hand, it's good that he's such a person. On the other hand, where is this Mia? No sign, no trace for so many years, and Derek still hasn't married because of her. Or maybe because of Betty. Carol, as usual, got confused and waved her hand. Maybe it's a breed thing. Look at her father, he only got married at 36, and nothing. They had 4 children and lived soul to soul with his mother all their lives. The next morning, Derek sat down to work on the reports again, hoping to finish everything for today. He had no strength to write those papers. The window was open, and a warm breeze blew in from the street. Derek. He even jumped. Cindy stood by the window. Well, what happened again? Did the apples scatter? No, Derek, worse than that. The old lady was so agitated that Derek put the papers aside. It seems he will never finish this report in his life. Come in, tell me. The door slammed shut, and on the threshold were Cindy and John. Derek looked at them in surprise. If John came, then it's definitely serious. Cindy was about to start when the door slammed shut again. "Derek, I'm here." His mother entered the room. She brought his phone. He probably forgot it at home. "Why are you all here? Did something happen?" Derek didn't have time to answer. Cindy turned to his mother. "Sit down, Carol, and this concerns you since you live in this village." Carol sat down. If Cindy was alone, she wouldn't have listened to her. But since John was here, it was worth staying. "So, John and I went through the usual routine yesterday. Well, he has one head, 2 ears, and forgot to close the chicken coop. And he was already in the bath. Well, who needs this? Only me. I have nothing else to do but go after him and finish everything." Derek smiled. "Grandma Cindy, let's get to the point." So, I told him everything I think about him and went out to the street, closed the chicken coop, checked the barn. And I was about to go home when I noticed a light in that neighbor's house, you know, the abandoned one. I'm going there. It's late, and it seems scary, but they will notice, right? I thought it was Rebecca's older son secretly smoking again. Then I remembered he's away at camp. I stopped. If not him, then who else? Just as I took another step, a moan came from the house. Understand? Not an adult, but like some creature or a child. It was interesting, as if they muffled the moan at the end with something so that it wouldn't be loud. I immediately thought, some evil force has settled there. Derek said, "Well, here we go. Now what, do I go and chase away the evil spirit?" Baba Cindy put her hands on her hips. "What? How am I supposed to live now?" "Okay, don't get worked up. What happened next?" "What next?" "I rushed home, dropped everything with John by the stove, and told him everything." Derek turned to John. "Well, John, now it's your turn to tell." "Well, while Cindy was outside, I quickly got off the stove, got some moonshine from the boot, took a glass. Cindy is still not back, so I have another one. Sneaky. And I've searched everywhere, can't figure out where he hides this stuff. In the boot, apparently. Quiet, I only use it for a good night's sleep." John turned to Derek again. "I hear it's coming." Well, I quickly got to the stove and pretended to be asleep. But I kept an eye on it. Cindy flew into the house, like a young one, all pale and trembling. I immediately woke up. I asked, "What happened?" And she started telling me about the evil force. Well, I laughed. I told her she must have watched too many psychics. Well, my granny calmed down, twisted on the bed for a long time, and then started snoring. I don't snore. Of course, you don't. It's some monster putting a tractor under our window for the night. John didn't even turn to her, but Cindy was ready to kill him. Stick to the point, blabbermouth. So, to the point. I lay there, couldn't sleep. Ouch, I thought, I'll go see what kind of evil force is there. Got dressed quietly and went. Night, as luck would have it, pitch dark. I haven't seen such darkness in a while. Well, of course, all sorts of thoughts immediately came to mind. I sometimes watch those scary shows with Granny too. I approached the fence. All quiet, no movement, no sound. Was about to leave, and tomorrow I'd laugh at Cindy. As it seemed to me, some shadow flashed from the garden to the house. You understand, and I can't say for sure that it was a shadow. I noticed it out of the corner of my eye, maybe a cat, maybe a dog, maybe some spirit. Then mumbling, and then a moan. Like Cindy said, either a child's, or some animal's, but not an adult's. Derek tensed. John was not the kind of person to exaggerate or lie. They need to listen carefully now. And what did you do, John? The old man lowered his head. What? I got scared, really scared. If an evil force settled nearby, there would be big trouble. John, come on. What evil force? So, in the morning, I thought, what evil force? I wanted to go there, see for myself, but Granny wouldn't let me. She stood up, arms spread, and wouldn't let me. Honestly, it felt a bit scary. Like, there's nothing to be afraid of anymore, but when I think about the evil force, it's scary. Well, you infanticizers. Let's go, see what kind of evil force has shown up at your place. Derek stood up, and Carol said, Son, take the gun with you. Mom, come on. Don't worry, I always have a gun with me. They had to walk through the entire village. By the time the local police officer reached the house, about 10 people had gathered behind him. Well, no wonder. It was such a spectacle. Clearly, something had happened. It wasn't for nothing that Derek was accompanied by 3 people and moving quickly. The crowd stayed a bit away, and Derek and John approached the house. Suddenly, Derek stopped. And what's this? He exclaimed. A rag stained with brown spots lay on the doorstep, and the door was slightly ajar. This wasn't there yesterday when he inspected everything. Various thoughts raced through his mind, maybe escaped convicts? Though there were no leads. Maybe someone was hiding evidence of a crime, brought someone and dumped them here? In any case, it didn't smell like ghosts. Derek gestured to John to look at the rag. The old man saw it and paled. The young man pushed him back, signaling him to go back to the people, then pulled out his gun. John stepped back cautiously. People saw all this and froze. Silence hung heavy. Suddenly, a moan came from inside the house, and then a child's voice began to speak. Derek kicked the door open and stormed into the house. He immediately lowered his gun, then put it back in the holster and rushed forward. On the floor was a girl, about 10 or 11 years old, with her leg bandaged. That explained the rag with stains. The girl was delirious, and next to her sat a tearful boy, about 7 or 6. He looked at Derek with huge, terrified eyes and whispered, "Please don't kill us." "Don't be afraid," Derek reassured him. He sat in front of the girl. She was feverish, probably because of the wound on her leg. Derek removed the rag. Indeed, the leg was swollen. He walked to the door. "Get a medic here. Quickly." Then he looked at the boy, turned back to the people, and said, "And get some food for the child." Mrs. Cindy rushed into the house. Some of the younger ones ran to the first aid station. Derek picked up the girl and placed her on the couch, and the boy sat next to her. Derek's mother, John, and someone else entered the house. Everyone looked at the children with pity. Carol, wiping away tears, was especially emotional. Derek looked at the boy. "What's your name?" "Clark." "Clark. All right, and who is this?" "This is my sister, Lily." "How did you end up here?" "Mom told us to run here. Our dad lost everything in a card game and said Lily would pay off his debts anyway. She wasn't his. But Mom wouldn't let him. So, he beat her, and at night, she told us to run. She said to come to this village. When we were running away from Dad, we climbed over the fence. Lily jumped and landed on a nail. It took us 2 days to get here, sometimes hitchhiking, sometimes through the woods to avoid getting caught. But Lily got worse and worse. "Mister, will they save her?" "What will I tell Mom?" I'm a man. Everyone was in such shock that there were no words. The women were crying. Mrs. Cindy, out of breath, arrived, followed by the medic. She examined the girl, administered some injections, and then attended to the wound. Clark moved to the table. He ate so eagerly that Mrs. Cindy burst into tears. "Oh, you're so hungry, my hawk. Why didn't you knock and ask for food?" "We couldn't. You might have reported us, and Dad would have taken us back. And then Lily would still have to pay off the debts." "Don't worry, no one will give anyone away." "Really?" Clark stopped chewing. "I promise you." "And tell me, did you end up in this village by accident?" "No. Lily's mom explained for a long time, told us where to go, where the house was." People began to exchange glances. It seemed that the children didn't end up here by chance. "And Mom wrote a letter. She said we should find Derek or his mom, Aunt Carol." Carol screamed, and Derek just stood there with his mouth open. "We found you. Mom said you're good, you'll help us." She reached into her pocket, but she was so weak that she couldn't manage it. Then Clark approached her, helped retrieve the piece of paper, and brought it to Derek. Without unfolding the paper, he asked, "Lily, what's your mom's name?" The girl sighed, and a tear rolled down her cheek. "Mia." It felt like the ground beneath Derek's feet was swaying. Someone in the room said, "I think there's more to it. Look at how the girl resembles Derek." At that point, Carol burst into tears, rushing to Lily and embracing her. While people attended to the children, Derek opened the letter. "Hello, Derek. If you're reading this letter, it means the kids found you. I beg you've helped them. My husband has gone insane, he lost everything. Our apartment has long been mortgaged, and people keep coming to the house demanding money. Lately, he's been behaving irrationally, even contemplating selling Lily. She's only 12, and he decided to hand her over to some gangster overnight to forgive his debts. Please help them, I can't do it myself. My husband is a well-known man. If someone reports their whereabouts to him, Lily will be beyond help. Forgive me, Derek." Later, when I came to bury Aunt Betty, she confessed everything to me. "I was foolish, so foolish. But there's no turning back now. I was married to spite you. Also, Lily is your daughter, so my husband doesn't care about her. Help them." Derek placed the letter in front of him, smoothed it for some reason, then looked at Lily. The girl was staring at him intently. He somehow immediately understood that she had read the letter, meaning she understood that he was her father. The medic approached Derek. "What should we do?" "The girl needs to go to the hospital." "Can't we do without the hospital?" "They can't go to the city yet." "We can, but, Derek, only under your responsibility." "Fine, we'll take the kids home with us." He stood up. "I sincerely ask that no one outside this village knows about this discovery. As you understand, if the information spreads, the children will be in danger." Everyone agreed, saying, "We understand, we won't let any harm come to them." "You handle this, Derek." Carol said, "Derek, we need a car, Lily won't make it home on foot." Someone present said, "I have one, I was just kicked out of the garage, was planning to wash it." Lily and Clark were taken to Derek's home. Carol immediately prepared beds for them, tucked them in, and hugged Clark. "Don't be afraid of anything. Everything will be fine now." She anxiously looked out the window. Derek, his father, and a few other men were talking about something. She overheard words like guard duty, guns, and protect. Then everyone dispersed. Derek and her husband, Sam, returned to the house. Derek sat in front of Lily. Lily, we'll talk about everything, but now we need to save Mom. You have to tell me everything. When your dad isn't home, how the rooms are arranged, the address, neighbors, everything. Will you really save her? Well, of course, don't worry. The main thing is, tell me everything. Lily spoke for a long time. Sometimes Carol gave her sips of water. It was clear she was very tired, but she tried. She remembered new details now and then. Clark helped sometimes. Derek made notes in his notebook, then stood up. So, this is it. I'm going to the city, and you'll stay here. Mom, there are guys in the yard who'll take turns guarding. At least feed them in the evening. I hope to be back by morning. Derek, maybe you should go to your people first. To my people, Mom, but later. Now we can't afford to waste time, there's paperwork to be done. One writes, another signs, all later. Be careful, son. Of course. He looked at Lily, then at Clark. I need to be very careful now. After Derek left, Carol couldn't find peace. She was very worried about her son, although she understood he wouldn't be himself if he didn't rush to help like this. In the yard, men played cards in the gazebo, and several rifles were placed next to the table. It all resembled some kind of detective movie. Carol knew that Derek didn't go alone. 2 other young men were with him. One had recently returned from the army, which somewhat reassured her. 3 were better than 1. By evening, Lily's condition worsened. The girl started delirium again. They called the medic, who examined her leg for a long time. We need to take her to the city. The wound needs to be opened. You know we can't. Maybe she can handle it herself somehow? And if not? Well, if not, then we'll take her. The woman sat for a long time, looking at Lily, at Clark, thinking about something. Then she said, "Oh, to hell with it. Boil some water." Clark was sent outside. He went to the gazebo where the men were and confidently said, "They're performing surgery on Lily." An hour later, the medic, explaining what and how to do, left medicines and bandages, and went home. You, Carol, check her temperature more often. If it doesn't stop rising by morning, we'll have to call an ambulance. Well, by morning, I hope something will become clear. In the evening, after feeding Clark and putting him to bed, Carol adjusted the blanket on Lily and went outside. She brought the men bacon, cucumbers, boiled eggs, picked some onions, and placed a large jug of milk. Not wanting to sleep, she sat down with them. The man looked at her. "How's the girl?" "The girl?" And then Carol realized. "Oh, you don't know anything. What else should I know?" The men smiled awkwardly. None of them had told Sam that he now had a ready-made granddaughter. Lily is Derek's daughter, meaning your granddaughter. Sam widened his eyes. "You're lying." "See, fool. You should be happy." While they talked, it got dark. Carol wanted to go inside, but headlights appeared at the end of the village. The men immediately approached the gate, standing where they could. They stared intently at the approaching Cindy. Sam waved to Carol. "Hide in the house and don't show yourself." Carol went inside. She sat down next to Lily and started praying for Lily to get better, for everything to end well. For Cindy not to be dangerous. Apparently, she started praying aloud because Lily opened her eyes. "What happened?" "Nothing, sweetheart, sleep." But loud voices were heard in the yard. Well, at least, no gunshots were heard, which was a relief. Lily also listened. "Who's there?" Is someone a stranger? I don't know yet, baby. The men won't let anyone through, don't worry. Then Carol saw that Cindy had moved away from the house and someone was coming down the corridor. She stood up, blocking her granddaughter. She wouldn't give her away, let them try. Sam entered the yard, turned on the light. He smiled. So, what are you spreading your wings for, Defender? Greet the guests. He stepped aside, and a woman entered the house. It was Mia, very thin, worn out, but still beautiful. Mommy. Lily tried to stand up, but Mia rushed to her. How are you, my girl? Derek told me you're not well. Mom, everything is fine now. Grandma, she's so kind. Carol burst into tears immediately. Someone called her grandma for the first time in her life. Voices from the room made the tousled Clark rush out. Mommy. Mia hugged everyone and burst into tears herself. Okay, don't be afraid of anything now. Everything will be fine with you. We have a home, we'll fix it up, and we'll live well. Everything will be fine. Everyone went to sleep only by morning. Carol already knew that Derek had gone to the police. It turned out that Mia and her husband had security cameras at home, and when they fled, the woman took the recordings. There was more than enough to put that monster behind bars for a long time. It was already dawn, and Mia couldn't fall asleep. She quietly went out to the porch, sat down. The door opened almost immediately. Someone threw a jacket over her shoulders and then sat down next to her. It was Carol. Are you waiting? I'm waiting. He still hasn't forgotten you. And I haven't forgotten. But I'm very guilty in front of him. Carol sighed. Who in their youth didn't make mistakes? Morning came, but there was no news from Derek. Mia didn't leave the window. Finally, closer to the evening, Cindy appeared, a familiar sight. Everyone poured out into the street. Two men came out with Derek, but he wasn't there. Carol felt her heart sink. But one of them opened the back door and started helping someone get out. It was Derek. His head was bandaged, his arm was in a sling. Carol felt her heart drop into her heels. Mom, why are you crying? Just a scratch. They bandaged me like a doll in the hospital. Don't cry, everything is in place. Carol cried and at the same time felt her son. Everything really seemed to be in place. He's standing, he's not a ghost. She was still sobbing, but at least not wailing like a corpse. Mia approached. For a while, she just looked at Derek, he at her. And then she hugged him with some kind of sigh, pressed against him, and cried. Bitterly, like a child. Forgive me, Derek. Forgive me if you can. So many troubles in your life because of me. A week Carol didn't let the guests out of the house. She helped Mia tidy up the house. Sam, John, and everyone who participated in this story brought things into the house, did repairs. Mia just sighed. She had almost forgotten what people in the village were like. After a week, the house sparkled with new windows, fresh paint. They threw away the old furniture, and the house was furnished with what people brought. Cindy worked the hardest. Well, she had supplies for 3 such houses. In the evening, Carol set the table the last evening all together. Even though they're not moving far away, it's still not here. She felt sad. She got so used to the kids that several times during the day, she repeated, "Come to me more often, Grandma Carol always has treats for you," and wiped away tears. Mia smiled. Don't be silly, Carol, really. We'll be so close. And you always come to us. Dinner was coming to an end when Derek stood up. I want to say something. Mia looked at him with fear. Well, we all make mistakes, and I, including. Well, I want to finish what I didn't do earlier. He got down on one knee in front of Mia, took a box from his pocket. Mia, marry me. I should have proposed 13 years ago, well, a bit late now. Mia remained silent, the pause lingering. Carol looked at her with fear. Finally, the young woman knelt down next to Derek. I've been waiting for this my whole life. And Carol cried again. Either from joy or from the fact that Derek is now moving out of their home. The house there is ready, but the young couple needs to live separately. She hugged them and wished them happiness.